Welcome back, crew. Today we are diving into the Daggerheart RPG as our game of the month. And with this, we're going to be getting into one of my favorite pieces of learning any new system. We're going to take you through step by step how to build a character utilizing the Daggerheart system, showing you everything you need to know to how to choose your class, how to pick domain powers, spells, how to pick your attributes, everything you need to know to show up at the table with your own character ready to play and roll some dice and find their story. Before we do that, quick shout out. As always, we're going to be holding a live actual play of the Daggerheart system this Wednesday, June 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to go through and put the system through its paces, show off some of its unique mechanics, hopefully give a good representation of what makes this system tick and why you should play it. And afterwards, we're going to be keeping the tradition and giving away a free PDF copy of the core rulebook to one lucky viewer. Make sure to come through, see how the system is played, and if you're the lucky guy, be able to come back with a free core rulebook to be able to run Daggerheart for you and your crew. But with that said, let's dive in. So this one thing I do want to shout out, especially with Daggerheart having such a huge fan base, and many of them coming, or many of you coming from kind of 5e is probably your main or primary system. Uh, I really do want to shout out that Daggerheart is a lot easier to build a character than 5e. It's one of the things that'll take a lot less reading, a lot less research, a lot less back and forth within the book to be able to figure out. This is one that you can build it quickly, have a very flavorful character, and still be able to make some tactical element options and choices, but overall it won't be as intensive as a build as going through for a 5e character. So I know that can sometimes be a barrier to play, and wanted to make sure that people know that this one's easy, quick, and pretty accessible to be able to get into. But that's it. Let's dive in. So, big shout out to the Daggerheart team. They've got a very good character creation section that allows you to go through and figure out the key pieces you need as you build out your PC. So, with that, let's get started. So we're gonna skip the session zero piece. Always recommended though if you are part of a table, and get right into building our core concept. So with our guy, we're going to be using my homebrew world of Kazuya for this RPG or this one shot. So with that, I wanted to bring in some of my own setting pieces to mix with the mechanics. With our guy, he is going to be a divine warrior of the god of wind. I want him to have a very impressive weapon that he's able to spin around and utilize it to push and pull people with the wind. I wanted him to have some reach with that weapon as well. So confident in his God's protection, he goes into battle without armor, and is able to kind of go through and to dominate the battlefield utilizing his magical weapon. So those are the key pieces I want you to keep in mind as we go through and see how we can fit those class mechanics and system mechanics of Daggerheart to build that out. So the first thing that we're going to do now is we're going to choose our class. So Daggerheart has a number of classes. One of the big things you do when choosing your class is you also get a subclass that you choose automatically. So there's a number of different ones, but for our concept, the Seraph I think stands out as kind of what will hit our piece. We get that divine feel. We get the choice between Winged Sentinel and Divine Wielder. Both were kind of, it was a hard choice in that one. It's God of Wind, and the wings feel like they fit very well. But for this, I thought having kind of that magic weapon will just kind of call out this divine warrior a little bit more. So with that said, now we get to go to the class page and see everything that comes with a class for the Daggerheart system. So with this, your class will determine what domains you have. So for the Seraph, you get Splendor and Valor. Domains are really cool for this. It allows you to pick different abilities that can kind of enhance your build. We're going to go into that a little bit deeper later in the video, but keep that in mind as we go through. It's also going to determine your evasion, so 9 for the Seraph, and hit points 7. We're going to go in depth with our mechanics video a little bit later this weekend, highlighting what those mean. So if you're not sure about that, stay tuned. That's coming with a more in-depth explanation. But this and one other piece that's determined that every class gets, each class starts with 6 stress as well. So it gives you some of those starting features just to make it quick and easy for you to jump in. It also gives you your kind of a class item. We'll take a sigil of our god, a windswept amulet with a kind of a little storm brewing in its center. With this too, you get your hope feature as well as your class feature. Your hope feature for the Seraph is life support, letting you spend some hope to be able to reduce a hit point. Then you get the prayer dice, which you can use as D4s to be able to help yourself or an ally, reducing damage or adding to a roll. So now that we've got that picked, the next big piece is going into seeing what our subclass provides for our PC. So for the subclass, we're going to be going with that Divine Wielder. Our spellcast trait is Strength. So Strength can be a key feature for both our domain abilities or spells that we get, as well as just our overall combat feature. It also is going to give you your foundation features. So for this, we get Spirit Weapon, which allows us to hurl our weapon within close range to be able to target different people by spending a stress. Uh, and you can also mark another additional stress to be able to target an additional foe within that same range. You also get Sparing Touch, which allows you to, once per long rest, heal 2 points and 2 stress from a creature. So those are the core features you get to start off with a new kind of tier one PC. As you progress down the line, you can pick up a specialization feature and a mastery feature, but for that, we're not going to worry today. So now that we've got our class chosen, let's dive back in and see what our next step is. So step two is going to go through and build your heritage, which will be a mix of your ancestry as well as your community that you're from. One thing to note too for the Daggerheart system is that languages are not kind of chosen there specifically. Your game master can make them a more could build that in if that's something that they'd like to do, but the system assumes that everybody speaks a common language. So now, with that said, let's go through. There's a number, like a ton of different ancestors you can pick from. I've always been very partial to Dragonborn, so we're going to be doing the Dracona species, which is kind of a mirror of the Dragonborn within the Daggerheart system. So ancestry in this, not overly complicated. What they're going to do is they're not going to affect your character traits or your abilities. What they do is they give you two different features that you can bring into your character. They also have an option too if you wanted to be a mixed ancestry. Like if we wanted to make our guy dragon, Kona, and human, you could choose one of the features from each ancestry. So very straightforward, able to easily kind of mix and match if you'd like to, or if you're sticking with one ancestry, you just go through and document your two traits you get from them. So for our guy, we get these scales, which allows us to spend a stress and remark one less HP if we take severe damage. We also get elemental breath, which allows us to exhale a kind of a torrent of our element within the very close range, doing a D8 damage based on our proficiency. We get to choose the element, and I thought ice would be very fitting for a kind of a warrior follower of the god of wind. So with that, we've got our ancestry built. The last big thing is we're going to go through and choose our community. And community kind of determines kind of where you come from, the people that you've spent your formative years with, and gives a little bit of just kind of, I think, inspiration for both you as a player to build out your character backstory, as well as the game master to kind of be able to use and tweak pieces from there to just kind of how your character presents themselves to the world. So with my god of wind, one of his edicts is to always be traveling, always moving throughout the world. So Wanderhome really fit for one of his champions. Also with that, you get the community feature, which for the Wanderborn is the nomadic pack, which allows you to spend a hope to reach into the pack and pick out a mundane item that could help in that situation. You have to work with your GM for it as well, but it gives you some options to be able to kind of turn it up and make sure that you're got everything you need when a crisis may happen. So with that portion, we've gotten step two done. We've got our ancestry, we've got our community. We don't have to worry about the languages. With step three, we're going to go through and pick our character traits. So this system has 6 different character traits: agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge. A lot of these are pretty straightforward, but one of the things I appreciate is they give you like the description too of what they can do: lift, smash, and grapple for strength. So, with our guy, he's a Seraph, a divine wielder, so strength is his primary attribute. So, as we're looking at the ways you can distribute your modifiers, you could kind of just keep an eye on that because that +2 is going to want to go towards strength. So, the way we built it out for our divine follower is I gave the 2 to strength. I gave the 1 to agility. He's a follower of the god of wind. I wanted him to be able to sprint and maneuver pretty well. also gave one to presence. He's a champion of God. He's got to be able to talk and have command people's attention. And those are kind of so the two and the one are dealt out. So for the zeros, I gave those to finesse and instinct. Fortunately, those just aren't his strengths. And then I gave the -1 to knowledge. He is very well versed in the tenets of his God, but outside of that, he just doesn't really have much of a formal education or ability to recall and analyze. So with that, we built out our attributes. So moving into step four, you're going to go through and kind of review your class's starting evasion. We've already got that in there. And as you kind of level, it's going to upgrade on that side, as well as your class's HP and starting stress. We've already reviewed those. Every class starts at 6 for stress, and our guy starts at 7 for HP. Hope and fear. So we're going to go into this pretty heavily during our mechanics video. For this piece, though, I will say you start with 2 hope, and you can only have a maximum of 6 hope that you can contain with your character. So the next big piece is going to be going through and choosing your starting equipment. So with this, you get some free starting equipment, which kind of the usual things like a tinderbox, uh, rope, all of that. But you, as well as your choice of a HP potion or a stress potion. But the big piece is you get to go through and pick your weapon and your armor. With the weapon, if you pick a two-handed weapon, you can only pick one. But if you do pick a one-hander, you can pick one primary and one secondary weapon. As well as the armor, you can go through and pick that too. So let's go through our guy. I said he goes through armorless. We're gonna explain how he's able to do that a little bit later. But for this portion, we're going to ignore the armor section for our guy. We're gonna go right to the equipment section for the primary weapons. And as I said, I wanted him to have a weapon that he can sweep through. Has some reach to it, something very frightening to behold. Making kind of a terror upon the battlefield. And I thought the halberd would be a good one. Helps him with his straight strength. Gives him very close range. Also gives us a -1 to finesse. So we're already down to -1 on the finesse side for that. And it's two-handed, so that means we only get to pick one weapon to start with. It also gives us a D10 +2 for physical damage when we attack something. One thing to note for the weapons is as your proficiency evolves. For our guy, he's level 1 PC, so his proficiency is 1, so that means we'll be rolling 1d10. But as your proficiency goes up, whatever your proficiency is the number of damage dice you roll when you make an attack. So as you progress, you'll start rolling more damage dice and be able to kind of hit and hurt at a higher level. So with that, those are kind of the key pieces you'll get for the weapon style. So we're not going to worry about armor for our guys since I would have to kind of go through that piece. But the last big thing is you get your starting items. So as I mentioned, you get your torch, your 50 feet of rope. You get to choose between your minor health potion or stamina potion, and you can get some potential options based on your character piece. Which our guy, we got that windswept amulet due to being a seraph. So the next big thing is we go through and create our background. So this will be going through and creating kind of who your PC is, your backstory, as well as going through and answering the key background questions within the class. So if you see, if we go to the back end, it's going to go over background questions as well as connections. So it allows you to pick one of these, or you can pick multiple if you'd like to. Going over which god did you devote yourself to. Our guy is devoted to Hava, the god of the wind. And what incredible feat did they perform for you in a moment of despair? I'll say for our guy, he was probably lost in a storm, just completely bewildered in which direction to go from, fleeing from a battlefield that had turned away from him and his people, just lost alone in that storm. And Pava was able to clear a path to find him, help guide him to safety, which he then devoted himself to the god from there on. So that's kind of how you do the background question. You go through and put in different information just to really just define how your PC got connected to whatever their class is, and give your game master some pieces just to learn who your PC is. So one of the fun things they brought into for this system is connections, which is how you can go through and build there's connections between the party. If you want to see this live in action, the first part of our live actual play will be the PCs going through and answering their connection questions with the party, trying to build those kind of innate connections between them and the crew. So that's kind of key pieces there for the background questions and connections. Moving back in, the last big thing that you're going to be doing for your character is creating your experiences. So one of the unique pieces for this system compared to like 5e, for instance, is you don't roll with skills. You roll with your attributes. But each character does start with two unique experiences, kind of based on their life, their profession, their skills and talents that they're able to call on by spending a hope point and enacting. At level one, you get two talents or two experiences that are both plus two. And when you spend that hope point, you're able to add that plus two to your roll by invoking your experience and describing how this experience applies to the situation. If your game master agrees, you get to add that two to the roll. And with these, they're supposed to be things that kind of represent your character's background, your experiences on that side. They can be, you don't want them to be overly broad, uh, but they can definitely be things that are just unique and things you can invoke on, things you can kind of get creative with as you're going through a session and figuring out how they apply. So for our guy, with the plus two traits that we're going to be getting, the first one is I wanted to be a windswept follower of Hava. He's well versed in the religious tenets and practices, as well as kind of gauging the wind. So that can give us a little bit of a decent feel on that side for traits that may involve wind, traits that may involve religions related to Hava. It kind of gives a little bit of options there and also wanted him to be kind of one that could forge his own weapons. Forging that magical halberd that he uses. So I gave him the Forge Master as well. So anything that may be related to crafting or construction, or even kind of analyzing the weaknesses of the design, may be areas where I can invoke my experience and get that plus two trait. One thing too, especially if you get stuck, they do give a ton of different options within there, just to help you and kind of building that out and giving you some options for your characters. So with that, the next thing is being able to go through and choose your domain class, your domain cards. With this, you get two domains. We already went through. Our guy is Splendor and Valor, and you get to pick two domain cards, two abilities that you can flesh out for those guys. So with that, we're going to go through and go to the Valor section. I thought both of the Valor or the Valor really kind of fit what I was going for our follower of Hava and gave him two pieces that really kind of play into the wind trait. So the first one, bare bones. So as I said, we're skewing armor, so we're going to be using this. So whenever we don't have our armor equipped, we get a armor score of 3 plus strength. So that's 5. Meaning, and we'll go into the mechanics video what armor means, but that basically means we can mark 5 armor points. We have to use that to protect ourselves. And with it being tier one, we get a 9 for major damage and a 19 for severe damage. And we'll go into that a lot more into our mechanics video. But this can give some good protection. And I'm going to flavor this with the wind being kind of his protection. He flows in and kind of counts on the wind to protect him from blows and they lessen it as they go through. The last one we're going to pick is Forceful Push. 'Cause with this, we're able to make an attack with our primary weapon and use it to kind of knock people back to close range and away from us, which we can kind of flavor as using the wind to knock them back. And if we spend a hope point, we can even make them temporarily vulnerable. And with that, since we've already went over the connection pieces, we built our PC. So especially if you come to 5e, this is a very straightforward build. This is one that's not going to be agonizing or stressful. Definitely something you can kind of go through and quickly adapt for you and your table. But yeah, go through and shout out below some of your favorite features, so even some of your favorite domains or features within the character build section for Daggerheart. One thing I really do like to shout out as well is just kind of the different flavorful options the domains have. I think domains are just a fun thing for the system because even your fighter gets domains just to really give you some of the flavor, even some magic or just some cool things you can do right from the go besides just attack with your weapon. So shout those out in the comments. Big shout out to the community too. We did Seraph because we voted for the community voted for us to go through with that one. So shout outs to you guys for giving us some direction on that side. But yeah, make sure to, of course, like and subscribe, but make sure to come by Wednesday, June 11th, as we go through our live actual play. To get to see how characters work in Daggerheart. You get to see how all these stats, all these abilities, all these domain cards work and play, and get a feel for the system. But overall, thanks for hanging out with us, and then till next time.